Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Good thing we invented the wheel, chat. Stone tablet, chat. Oi, mate, did you bring the fucking stone wheel? Of course I did. Of course I did, chat. What's happening, guys? It's your favorite streamer. It's your favorite YouTuber, Casey Francis O'Brien. The first of his name. King of the Connecticut River. Rulers of the real men. I'm the tree that grows into every garden. The man whose hand sits on the head of Andrew Tate. The one that all these content creators are trying to impress. It's nice out here. I've been learning a lot. I've been having some pretty vivid dreams when I sleep out here. I'm in the same spot they tried to bother me at to leave for months. But for some reason, now that I have all my nice stuff, check out my new bag, guys. It says Land's End Summit. And then in big letters, it says AMP. And I can take this out and take all the things out and do whatever I want with it. And then I can put whatever I want in this bag. And nobody can stop it. Right now it's just got socks and a tent. You know how many guns I can fit in this bitch? How much ammo? I'm taking merch requests. When people want merch, because I wanted something very intricate and extravagant, and what I got was 2 blank slates. But you can see under this I have a black bear fur coat. I have an old 1940s, before World War II coat. It's got real black bear fur on the inside, chat. What's it called? And this is just a medium coat. It's just a medium. I'm showing the guys that you know me. If you've been here long enough, you know how important it is that someone gave me, that I don't know, gave me a coat from the 1930s with black bear fur on the inside that is still preserved. I don't know what chemical it is, but they assured me that's what it was. And then I have a supernatural style demon slaying Wolverine leather jacket. And I've got the anger of 24 years of injustice. I can't wait to meet the white people. I've been meeting the white people, and everything I say and do amazes them, humbles them, reduces them to excited little children, and they just want to hang out with me and see what comes out. People ranging from 40 to 60, bro, that have kids are humbled and emasculated because they've run into their father in the flesh. I embody ancient wisdom. And I have dreams every single night of me and your favorite streamers. And they're off on their little hero's journeys. And then I'm a god that steps in and is just having fun. So last night I met probably the best looking streamer on Twitch. I bet you guys can guess who it was. If you've been in the cult of Casey long enough, you'll know who it is if you watch Twitch. If you've been following the Twitch storyline, here's something interesting. I put my cigarette out the other day, and the rain has turned it into a yin-yang symbol. Look at that. That's perfect, right? That's a yin-yang. There's no way around it. Then if you were to write my name out, chat, you'd see the S in the middle, the A and the E, and then the C and the Y. And the C and the Y look like yin-yangs, but it also looks like a big dragon. Just like my dad. But he doesn't have the middle part. It's just G-Y, G-A-R-Y. But it still looks like the yin-yang. So I don't expect anything of you, chat. But I wanted to let the world know what I am. I'm the guy that goes to sleep and then I fix all the streamers' problems, and then the CEOs of major companies come to me in my dreams. And I have to school them and humble them and reduce them to 5-year-old children, because that's all they want to do. All these people with power just want to be kids. And they don't want to do anything because they're rich. So they have me come in, mostly with Andrew Tate. And he started turning gay. Here's my B has come to visit us. He flew around the camera to keep you in check. And he flew around me to remind me about this bug behind me that keeps going. So I sit in the capital of Vermont. They can't handle the truth. And they're bored because I'm not screaming at a camera or rizzing up a woman. You make me sick. You're a disgrace. All the lights we steal from the night sky will never be enough. Never be enough. Oh shit. I spent the last of my money on a Black and Mild. And then I played Native American music. And I rode my bike around. And a lot of people looked, and a lot of people looked with awe at this guy riding a big red bike, playing loud Native American screaming, and walking around with a Black and Mild, you heard? So, Andrew Tate just came into my head and said, he wants you all to know that the Matrix is trying to turn everyone gay. And then I look back at Andrew, who's looking in with anger like this. And I look back like, your entire life is a facade. All of your fights have been in the ring with somebody that was smaller than you. God gave Andrew Tate this giant, big body And he walks around like he's the embodiment of masculinity when he's had a leg up on the world since he was born. With a father that worked in the CIA. That's why he went to jail, and it was the biggest thing in his whole life. The worst thing that happened to Andrew Tate was he went to jail for speaking out against the Matrix. And this isn't a comparison, I'm just saying, I went out in public for years every single day, invading the people's hearts and minds, and giving them a love that they've never felt before. Waking them up to the truth, and then when they get scared, I would ride like this, and I'd go get my DoorDash, and I'd be like, have a good night, guys. But everybody's twitching and paranoid and scared. And they would follow me out and watch me as I left in the car. In my Dodge Magnum that I went out, and then the police would pull me over like in my face. I'd be like, my grandfather was a cop in Bronx. Yours would be ashamed of you. And then sometimes I'd play around with them. Like, they would ask me questions, and I go, what? 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 Have I been suspected of committing a crime? What? I want to call your supervisor. I don't want you to call your supervisor. I want your supervisor's card. Leave it with me when you're done. Roll my window up. And he comes back, and he comes back up to me. Should I give him the card? Should I call my supervisor to do this? I'm already on the phone with the precinct. I'm like, your cop came up to me aggressive. He's acting like a child. You can see it on his body cam when he gets home. This guy is having an ego trip. Does he have a wife? Because he's acting a lot like the guys that can't get any at the bars. He's overly aggressive, trying to ego check me, and I know you know what I mean. So what he did was wrong and fucked up. He hasn't told me what crime I've been committed of. He hasn't told me why he stopped me. He came up and just tried to press me. And I have it on camera. So what are we going to do about it? And then sometimes they let him off, sometimes they double down. And he showed up to go to do what his officer was doing, to let me know that that's just how we do it around here. Because we're big men. We're big fat men. That's what we do. When we don't like him, we ruin his day for no reason so that we can feel good about ourselves. And we get to act like children because we have guns. And then for the most part, they would give up out of complacency, and I'd keep going. I'd be door dashing 12 hours a day. So I'd be on the street still every day. So then eventually we'd pass each other again. And like a knight in shining armor, I would joust past him, and I'd see his whole system get frazzled, and I'd keep going. And then there would be tons of pretty girls in the street that turned their heads to look at my Dodge Magnum. And then tons of old heads in the black community in Albany, New York that would go. Because they would see what would happen, and they could feel what I was doing. They didn't see a white boy with his dad's money. They saw a terrified homeless guy fighting for his life. And then he still smiled at the girl and then kept going. So they went, that's what's up. Man, I wish I had something like that, man. And I'd be like, work at FedEx for 3 weeks, and then text me. And then I'll text my autistic friends in my Discord groups, and we're gonna get the stock pick. And then you all get together when you play dice and poker with your money from FedEx for 3 weeks. And I'll tell you exactly when to throw it in, how to throw it in. I might even pull up with my computer. And they never texted me. My parents never texted me. My friends never texted me. You guys never texted me. Unless you did. But we'd all be rich sitting in my island somewhere. If people could just... What happened in your mind that made you not view me as a human being with a valuable opinion? Bruh. Turns out, I'm the truth. I'm the answer. And I have been all along, brother. I could beat the fuck out of Sketch. Imagine me and Sketch in the same room. He's like, what's up, brother? And we're both sat here. And he's going, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? And then I bring in Eric Weinstein, the quantum physicist. Imagine me on Joe Rogan when Joe Rogan gets serious and then I get serious. And we're like, haha, monkey stoned ape theory. And then Joe Rogan's like, but were they really stoned apes? And I'm like, well, you wouldn't fucking know. You didn't do shit with your money. You have $100 million and you never hung out with a monkey and gave him mushrooms? You had piranhas, but you never gave a monkey mushrooms to see what would happen? You went for 6 years about stoned ape theory and you never once got a monkey stoned? What's your daughter's phone number? I bet she's not very attractive. I'll watch your whole family eat dinner. I'll watch your whole family eat dinner. Sometimes I like to get right up on the board and be a peeping Tom if I can. I'll watch your whole family eat dinner. I think he got that shit in his pocket. Nightmare! 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 Blah. $33. Motherfucker. How you doing? How you doing? It's good. We ride at dawn. I have a list of businesses that need to be Molotoved. I have a list of crackheads that need to be whipped and then dragged by the neck on our motorcycles. Hello? Are you from Britain? Are you from Britain? Are you from Britain? Well, your genetics are inferior. You're a dying species. I can't wait to see you and all of your fucking losers of a tiny little cesspool of inferior genetics get burned alive by the people that you raped for 1,000 years while Ireland is dancing about 2 blocks away. Fuck the British. They're broke and they're weak-minded. They're stupid. It's going great, man. I had a dream that I went into every single streamer's life in the 5th dimension, and I came and I gave them all stuff that I went and checked. I'm like, are you guys okay? And then all of the zombies and the people around them that were using them for their money that don't see them as human were mad. And then arguably the most attractive streamer on Twitch, I was at a restaurant. She walked by with her dad. Probably, I think we were in Austin, Texas. And I just opened my window and I was like, yo, did you get any water today? And she was like, no. So I handed her water. And then her dad was like a real human being. He was like, oh my God. And I was like, don't tell anyone about it. And then I closed the window and he was like, oh. He was like, oh shit, a real one. He said, a real one. he was in awe at how cool I was. And then I closed the door. I'm probably the best looking girl on the internet right now, I swear to God. And she's popping off. She's just in the nerdy community. You feel me? I'm wearing flat EQ studio monitor headphones because I'm a certified audio engineer from the music industry. that talked to Mac Miller 2 days before he died. And he seemed fine. They always seem fine right before they kill themselves, brother. R.I.P. Mac, man. R.I.P. Mac, man. Mac Miller, Macklemore. Return of the Mac. Turn of the Mac. Turn of the Mac. Alright. I want to sing my songs for you, but I'd rather wait. KJ, you're on thin ice, buddy. You're on thin ice, buddy. I'm not a streamer. I'm not a streamer. I'm not a streamer, buddy. I'm the person that your streamers should be afraid of. Ah. Girl, I got Duke Dennis Riz. Hey, chat. Chat. Duke Dennis was in the military. Duke Dennis is a cop. Myron is a cop. They're feds. They work for the CIA. Did you know that? Did you know that Duke Dennis is a high-level member of an intelligence agency? Did you know that? Did you guys know Dookie Pookie is a CIA agent? Did you know that, chat? It's in your face. He named himself Agent. AMP. Someone just walked up and gave me this bag the other day. Someone gave me this bag, and I have this nice leather jacket from the 60s, and then I have this 1930s coat someone gave me that's got black bear fur on the inside. And I got it all for free along with this tent. I got this nice bike. I'm sitting at a building where I learned how to turn crows off with my mind. The Vermont State Capitol building, where Vermont is, so in the world we live in, there are places where higher dimensional energy can come through. There are portals. There's one above Chicago. There's one above Vermont. There's one in New York City. Miami does not have one. I think there's one down, what's below Miami if you go south? Is that Cuba? I think Cuba has one. And then they allow for a higher connection. So everything that they do down there is more beautiful and intense and vivid. And it's different because they deal with different aspects of the world that we live in. The Hopi have one right above their mesa. And they also had one at what's called the Snow Bowl, which the elites have bulldozed and then built their own ski resort on top of as a fuck you to the Native Americans. They convinced the Native Americans that they were black and from Africa, so the Native Americans don't realize. So check out my bikes. Look at my new bikes, guys. This is what I ride into battle with, and then this I don't know what to do with. I found it last night. But it's nice. They're old. This is an old-timey bike when I got my old-timey coat. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Kai Cenat grew up in Bronx. And he lived right next to where my grandfather had a restaurant. Kai Cenat wears an Irish chain, and he goes by KC3. And my group is called the Kingdom of Creative Champions. C is the third letter, so KCC, but a 33 path. So I go by KC33, right? And he's got an Irish four-leaf clover chain. And I've got the Native American bear paw. And bears originated in Ireland. So that was my check-in chat. I don't do it. I don't make content or live stream for you at all. I don't really like you guys. I'm sure you're great, but I just did streaming for about 3 months. It's just the world has problems, and I'm grateful to see those problems, because then we can come up with solutions. And then when I sit exalted and I daydream in beautiful places like this, and then I have to fight people. I wake up at peace, and then I go out into the world and I have to fight people, because the world has been zombified. When you embody a certain sense of peace of mind and presence and clarity, the whole world turns against you to eat it. So to fix that, God made me a Sagittarius who goes purely off momentum. And then he gives me a nice bike and nice cars. I just got a big bag that says AMP. No matter what, I'll be my side. Look at this fucking spider. Look at this fucking spider. He's hiding right where my phone was. He's exactly where I put my phone. Yeah. 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 So if anyone has one single question about their life, a big problem in their life, I'll solve it before I leave. I will fix a huge problem in your life that's weighing you down before we leave. I'll open up a portal for you to reach a higher timeline. If that's what you'd like. Or if you'd rather sit with your stupid problems, it's not my problem. The only way to mobilize the army is to sell them a dream. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, man. If you did, that would save my life. If you just donated 150, that would save my life, man. That would open up a lot of doors for me to do a lot more for a lot more. Hey. Kill Squad KP. You have no idea the amount of blessings you're probably going to get for that. You're the first person in, how long have I been doing this? 3 years. 3 years I've had 2 donators. So it's dope, man. I'll tell you, in the world that we're living in now, ambitious hope is the way that you can win everybody's mind. If you can just learn how to have hope and then not give a fuck about the people around you, when you walk around in public, everyone's going to be drawn to you like flies. Rich people will want to be around you just because you can hold ambition, because they're dealing with the zombies too. Rich men and us are no different than each other. We're both in flesh suits trying to have a good time. They just have happened to go deranged for a couple years and they made a lot of money, and now they're stuck forever. What's up, Buff Shrek gang? Buff Shrek gang, you weren't the guy that was... I know you're 12. You're young. How you doing, man? Where's that kid that said he was stealing his brother's girlfriends and he had 3 girls giving him the hot tour while we were talking? I want that guy in the Discord call. That's good, brother. Did you do push-ups today? We ride at dawn. You don't know if you did push-ups. We ride at dawn. I have a bike for you now. And I'm headed to a place where it's all hippie communes all the way for miles. That's my boy. There you go. Look at my little African American over there. And we like that. Yeah, I'm headed to a place where it's just 100 miles straight of tiny little intentional communities and the richest people in Vermont. And now I have a coat. And I have a nice bike. I'm just gonna climb my mountain one last time, ride the bike trails, and then I'm headed off maybe tonight. It depends on the weather. Right? Oh, Buff Shrek gang. I was telling people I just had a dream where I met all the famous streamers, and they were all little tiny babies that needed help. And I gave them things that would help them. And then their dads would come up to thank me and hug me because they are terrified of what the industry is doing to their kids. And then Andrew Tate came in angry, and I told Andrew Tate that he's a giant, massive pussy for over-exaggerating his problems when he's a 6 foot tall, big guy whose father was in the CIA. And then he's still just being a whiny baby right now, and his brother's just sitting next to him like, my brother's on the biggest ego trip in the world, and I'm over here getting thousands of bitches. Like, Andrew Tate, he goes on the emergency meetings now, and he's like still doing the stuff, and then Tristan Tate's just trolling him the whole time. No matter what, I'll be by your side. Take my hand and hold me close to the fire. Kiss me once and watch me burn alive. Give me one. I'm seeing an RV doing RV streams where we all play Minecraft. Maybe I'll hire a driver that has schizophrenia and is out of his mind and doesn't know what to do. We'll humble him, and then we'll force him to, maybe not a full-blown schizophrenic, but someone that's got problems and isn't doing anything with his life. And then while we're in the back partying, he can do what I had to do when I was 21. He's gonna drive in a straight line and figure his shit out for himself. There's a deer, chat. The crows have left me alone, and there's a deer. When I go up to meet them, they get scared, but when I let them come to me, they might sit down with us if they come down. Right now, he's just curious. Usually I have snacks for him. One day there will be a world where the deer come down from the mountain every day. I haven't had that issue yet, and I've been out in the woods for years, brother. When you get to this level of being present to the moment and empathy, you can immediately, as soon as I run into a bear, we immediately check each other, and then we both realize that we're conscious people that just want to be loved and feel love and be at peace at 3333 with 4 people watching and 4 likes. But that's not representative of how many people are here. My peak concurrence, even though it will say 4 to 6, my peak concurrence are around 70. Here's a squirrel that's behind me. Can you see him? But yeah, so we'll check each other. There's some bears, the worst that they'll do is just run at you and be like, don't empathize with me. My dad was shot. And I'll be like, I'm sorry, brother. And then I'll throw him, I'll just go to the nearest dumpster and I'll pick up whatever I find, like a half-eaten Subway sandwich that I was gonna eat. And then I'll take a bite of it, and then I'll throw the rest for him. And then he's scared, but I can tell that he's opened up more because he realizes that not all people are bad. And then I'm sure he walks down the street, and then a big white man goes, "Ah!" And the bear's like, what the fuck? Runs away, hides in a tree. I've been trying to go to Alaska. Do you know Alaska has got the worst crime in the world? Not the worst documented crime in the world is in Alaska, which is crazy because shouldn't there be not really much people out there? For Alaska to have the highest rapes, murders, stabbings, burns, sex offenders, arson, Check this out. You have fleas? You have fleas? You have fleas? Fuck you. Fuck you. I noticed the red squirrels want to hang out with people more than the gray squirrels. The red squirrels love it when you look at them and they were like, you can see me? And then we hang out. The gray squirrels are just like, yep. Later. I'm busy, I've got nuts to eat. Don't clip that. So what else, chat? Oh, I want to tell you to get a computer and get some money. When I go live and I have value to offer, there's a lot more opportunities I can bestow upon you if you have a good Wi-Fi, nice Wi-Fi, and a good computer. As long as you're consistently doing push-ups, you're not eating from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m., and you're eating small meals, you're not overindulging, and you're doing push-ups every day, by 2025, you'll be a force of nature in your community. You'll be the king of the cucks, the nerdy guys you hang around in school, because you'll be smart, but you won't be in their caste. You feel me? So people like us have the most riz. Traumatized savants have the most riz. Because we have nothing like Andrew Tate, who was tall and was thrown. I think his father in the CIA put him into a reality TV show when he was 18. So he got fame like that. And he's talking about, you have to suffer as a man. You have to do all this hard stuff as a man. I grew up in Luton and I had to eat from KFC dumpsters for a week before I had a nice cushy job where I made 10 grand a day. But for a week I had to eat out the KFC. I had to peel the skin off the chicken at a fast food restaurant. Then I had my brother with me the whole time. I haven't sat alone in my entire life. But you're not doing enough. You feel me? So I think I might do sleep stream soon. If I have a charger, and I have 2 portable chargers, I'm gonna do sleep streams, and then you guys, while I'm in the chat, you guys can indoctrinate the guys that come through and be like, you're living in a fake world, you need to fast because the sugar that you eat is a drug that keeps you sedated and then piloted through the electromagnetic spectrum, where they get into your brain and the parasites in your body drive you, and you have no idea that you've been outed into the backseat of your own mind. And they're like, what? And I'm still asleep. Can you see the chipmunk? Let's show you guys the chipmunk. He's looking at me. No, what I made the birds comfortable enough to come hang out. Oh, my head's shaky. Come on, bitch. Ain't nobody shaking, it's the phone. Ain't nobody shaking. Okay. Alright. So we don't know what's gonna happen next, guys. The world's going crazy, we're in a war. Well, being out in the woods, things are getting a lot more beautiful. Things are getting a lot more beautiful in the woods, chat. Let's get the hair, like, should I do a Viking braid in the back? I look like that guy that if you go the CIA operative that's going into all the podcasts. Don't we look really similar? Don't we look similar, fam? That guy, you think that guy donated 150? If he donated 150, I could either get a guitar or I could save it. Maybe I could go down and Panhandle tomorrow before I leave. Try to get... I've never panhandled before. I've never panhandled. Those tinkly weens are horrible, brother. I drive by them in my nice clothes now. All those homeless people that have been homeless for their whole life, like probably 40 years, that are out of it and crazy, and they go around trying to hurt other people all day and ruin the people's vibes, try to take the power from them, and then they hide it and covet it in their little groups, and then when they feel good because they hurt the public all day, then it feels nice for them to start smoking their crack because they can convert the goodness for a couple seconds, and then they're back to being losers. So they saw me enter the space, and I met all of them. As soon as I got here, all the crackheads came to press me, and I told them I was here to make a big change. And then at the end of it, they saw me in my rags with nothing. And then now at the very end, they all saw me, because they saw me walk, they saw me limping, then they saw me on a shitty BMX bike that I stole from one of them, and nobody had the balls to come press me about it. And now they see me on a nice bike in nice clothes, and I'm going into the places they're too afraid to go, and they know that I'm just as homeless as they are. So they got to see the evolution. As they sat around and did nothing every day, they saw me making consistent progress. So I embodied an archetype of the broken child with worse problems than they have, that they bullied and hurt because they're like, this is what we do when we're homeless. We're going to steal your power and leave you lifeless. Do you hear my birds? So then they saw that broken kid ascend and evolve to being this guy, and the whole state has seen it. The whole state knows who I am, and the places that they don't, I'm headed to right now. The whole state of Vermont, brother. The whole state of Vermont knows Casey now. My hometown is the toughest town in America. We got an award from the government that says we're the toughest town in America because we deal with the most mentally insane people in the country. And they just walk, they riddle our street every day. We have a funnel because Vermont's got good services. So New York City, Boston, Maine, Chicago, Detroit, California, they put them on buses and they send them to my hometown to go to a place called the Brattleboro Retreat, which is from that movie Sucker Punch, if you're old enough. That movie Sucker Punch, where the woman was stuck in an asylum. That gymnasium, they used to bring me every day, and I was so mad that I was stuck in like a Nazi FEMA camp where they would lock you in rooms for 12 hours a day. And then they would bring us to do martial arts, and then they would bring us to do, if we spoke out of turn, or we said something the staff didn't like, if they were having a bad day, they'd take away our food, and they'd lock us in a room all day. If you got caught touching a girl, like if you kissed a girl or something, you'd be locked in there for a week by yourself. So when they bring me to the gym in that gymnasium in the movie Sucker Punch that the main character daydreamed her way into a better life, I would ram these kids and break ankles, bro. I'd get that soccer ball to the goal and I'd put my boots on. Anyone that came at me, I would just slam through their foot. And I broke a girl's ankle. I broke a guy's ankle too. I broke ankles, brother. So that they would leave me alone, So when whoever's team I was on, and I'd switch teams so everybody would get a win, everyone just moved out of my way so that we could end the game and we could get to hanging out with each other, because we never got to talk to each other at all. And then I took one of my roommate's shark tooth necklaces, and I dug a hole in the wall to the girl next door, and then we trade notes. That's how I learned how to sext girls. That's how I learned how to talk to girls, was in programs where if you talk out of turn, you'd get in a lot of trouble. So you had to use sub-communication, you had to talk in code, you had to use eye contact. And then we'd pass each other notes, or I'd brush the small of their back as we perfectly passed a staff member. So the kids would all know, but the staff members couldn't catch us. Until I started to do it in public, and then somebody was off duty and saw us at like a festival. We went to like a farmer's market, and they saw me go behind the staff and kiss a girl right behind the staff. Quiet. I think that girl went on to be a cop, and now she rides around on a motorcycle. But she was Irish. She was Irish as hell, brother. So that's me, brother. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Wait! Chat! Are you alive? Are you in there? Are you in there, chat? Can you go outside and feel safe? Because you know people are people, right? It's just a systematic problem that's keeping them violent and aggressive. Nobody would do that naturally. Steal from the night sky will never be enough. Never be enough. Something, something, thousand spotlights. All the stars that we steal from the night sky will never be enough. I live on food stamps, but I live in the land. I live in the forest. I have a connection to the ground that the world doesn't. So when they pass me on the street and they feel that they can't steal my vibe and offend me, they get mad and they start twitching and they go, and they stomp around me. And then when that doesn't work, then the fat white ladies come and they get like my presence just sitting like this is like an attack on their life. So they'll call the police and lie, and then the police show up because they're the big bad wolf, and they're Texas Ranger, and there's a guy that they don't like. So he comes up and he's already got his face on. He talked in the mirror. He made sure his tone was okay. He was like, "What are you doing?" In the mirror, talking to him, like, "What are you doing?" "Hey, I heard that. What are you doing out here? What are you doing out here? Yeah, what are you doing out here?" And I'll usually say things like, "When you came and drove here to me to check me, did you notice how the public seems out of their mind, walking around twitching, doing all this stuff?" He was like, I mean, and I was like, "You've been deluded out of reality because you haven't had a sense of pain and suffering, because you've had it good for a long time. What's your house like? Do you have a nice house?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you have kids?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I can guarantee you as a kid, they don't like you. You're playing pretend still, and your kids are not playing pretend anymore, and they're confused why you're still playing pretend." And then they'll trespass me. And then I'll go back. As soon as they trespass me, I'll just sit down. "Are you going to call the police for a guy sitting here?" So then when they show up and they arrest me, I go, "My grandfather was a cop in Bronx." And then I single out the police officer that feels bad about what's happening. And I was like, "You see these guys molesting me?" "Yeah." And then I'll bring up like 2 or 3 things that I've already heard, because I ask around. I'll bring up 2 or 3 things that that police officer that's molesting me has done wrong. I'll be like, weren't you the guy that let this person go? Weren't you the guy that did this to this? See if I can getting in. And then while I'm in the car and we're going, I ask them to play music, and I see which song God has predestined for us to both hear. And then sometimes my favorite song comes on immediately. Sometimes it's an artist I've never heard before, but it's saying exactly the same things that I was saying in a song that I was just writing. And then right at the very end, I have them play. I'm like, can you play Angel Eagle by Young Spirit? So then the cop, who's his whole life is trying to figure out how to live with this culture and like operate in the public as a cop, where the public just doesn't want to be around you, and they don't see you as a human. They see you as all the shitty Stanford prison experiment hall monitor enforcers that walk around staring all the girls down, because they think white America has taught them that that's what you do as a strong man. So then they met me, and I'm the father they never had. I'm just sitting there, and I embody the father that they never had. So they're trying to impress. They've arrested me, and they're trying to impress me. So then at the end, I play Angel Eagle, and I can tell that they're like, this is what they've been looking for. The whole time they were just looking for the natural order of things, and they were trying to make the most of all the new prideful chaos. And then in the back, I'm like trying to get the forest vibes. I'm trying to channel the forest through, and then a butterfly will fly around me at the window, just flying around, and the cop can see it through the rear view mirror. There's a butterfly just trying to get in, while the guy's going, hey, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, way, 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 oh, way, yeah. When that cop was playing probably like A Boogie, right? He was playing A Boogie, he was playing Young Thug when nobody could hear him, fantasizing that he's like that. This one's sassy. On 11 days, everything's more powerful, so the crows don't feel like they have to submit. They want to attack me more. Crows are as smart as 7-year-olds. So I know some pretty smart 7-year-olds. Now when I start talking, he's going to start again. When I start to bring it back, because on 11 days, everything's more powerful, more vivid. Look who came to help us. It's a blue jay, and the crow doesn't like that there's a blue jay. But imagine he's a 7-year-old whose dad got killed very early in his life. So that crow is just a snotty kid screaming at me. He's trying to, he doesn't realize that he wants to play. So instead he's trying to steal all the energy for himself. It's a good representation of what I was talking about with the police. And if I scream, is it 4 o'clock yet? No, it's 2. If I scream, they're going to show up, the security guards. So I think the crows figured out that today I'm not going to scream at them. So now they're getting all their digs in. Did that blue jay just laugh at me? Get lost. He's going to find his friends, and they're going to come back and just scream at me for hours, brother. They're going to come back and scream at me, brother. And the British are inbred pussies that are finally getting what they deserve. They're doing what they did to other cultures. They're being raped by the people they want to make a peace treaty with. Someone said he donated 150, brother. If that guy hadn't donated 150, this would have been my last stream. This would have been like my goodbye to you guys, and then I'd go off to fuck hiker hose on nice trails on Mount Mansfield. But now I'm chilling with nature. I'm just waiting to find the right gym. Once I get in with the right gym, with the right people that do MMA, and I'm doing MMA all day, then we're gonna have streams like Vitaly does, where Vitaly goes and catches predators. I'm gonna go beat the fuck out of crackheads. I'm gonna go piss them off, and then wait for them to say do you want to do mutual combat, where if we both agree to a fight right now, we won't get in trouble. Then I'm gonna maybe I'll gouge one of their eyes out, depending on what if he's a sex offender that's out here, I might pick him up, put in front of the camera, whip him down, and then pierce an eye forever. That'll make the homepage that night. But all the bugs are going left to right now. Usually they go right to left when I'm on the right path. Now they just went right to left when I changed my tone. Maybe I shouldn't violently abuse or violently threaten to abuse people publicly. I love cigarettes, but I only love this initial part where I have it like this and I light it for the first time. That's the best part about smoking a cigarette. That's the part that boosts your testosterone. That's the part that helps the nicotine. The rest is like, it's like you played the first song of an album and it was amazing, and then the rest are trash songs. So you pace it. And that's why people, when they smoke cigarettes, they gotta play dice, they gotta do something. They have to keep it interesting, because after this, it's not as interesting. So all my bird friends are here. We've scared the crows away live, and now all the birds are coming because they've realized that I've kept the environment safe. So now these birds that usually get actually eaten, crows are, I want to say malevolent molesters, but they're not. They're, I mean, they kind of sometimes, but they're carnivores. Crows will dig up a mouse hole. They'll wait and find the mice, wait a couple days for the mouse to have kids, and then, because they're smart, when the mice have kids, and then the adult mice are done with babies, then the crow will come in, take a couple babies, leave a couple, and then take the dad mouse. And they'll eat it. They'll just pull it right out and eat it. I've seen it. I mean, once I have a gun, if the crows really try to bother me, I'll give them a warning shot where I shoot the branch. Then if they try it again the next day, shoot a foot. Then if they try it again the next day, shoot a wing. If they made it 3 days and they're still back, he's dead. And I'm going to cook him live. And then his feathers will go in my headdress. And then the bones will go in necklaces that I'll sell on Etsy or Shopify or Facebook Marketplace. Real authentic Native American jewelry. And then some white loser is going to walk around with a bunch of crow bones that thinks that there's a message behind it. And there is. It's that this crow was brave in battle. He got beamed 6 times with a BB gun and still came back to challenge somebody 10 times his size. I mean, so I've had 3 people donate since I started YouTube in 2021. And one of them was a nice family of, including the cats, over 40, and great people. And they, every week they gave me $100 out of their check. And that's how I made it through the past couple years, is because I would run out of gas and I would get depressed and I'd need McDonald's. I need something to get me away from all the shit that was going on. So I had a nice family that got me through it. So a lot of this is to help them too. I'm trying to get enough to get content creation studio, farm, means to diversify my income, like dogs and embroidery and gemstone stuff and stuff you could take to festivals. And then I want to be in a position to help all my friends learn skills. Like, imagine, what YouTuber do you know that can make it entertaining to bring a schizophrenic kid to a plumber and have the plumber teach the schizophrenic kid how to be a plumber, so that guy has a skill that whenever he wants to go out in public, he can just call with a little note that says, I'm a certified plumber, I know how to do the skill, I'll do it for half of what you're paying your regular employees, to just when I feel like it, because I have mental illness. And then when I'm good enough and trust me that I'm of sound mind and know when I'm good, to be able to go solve your problems for cheaper than what you're doing. And then I take that schizophrenic kid or whatever, maybe schizophrenic, maybe autistic, fat loser, incel, cuck, stuck in his basement. And then I take him out, and then I bring him around crackheads, and I leave him for 10 minutes with a mic attached. And then we get to see the interaction between the scum of the earth and the scared kid. And then when they think that the kid, they can take advantage of him, I'll ride in on a horse, and I'll take a bat, get him in like the chest so he's not killed, and then I'll jump off wearing a full suit of armor, and then I'll pick him up, be like, is this your hero? And then throw him in the river. And then the other guy that has the local heroin dealer, we'll tie him to a tree, and we'll leave him like a 32-hour live stream where the guy sits tied to a tree and detoxes from the drugs. And you guys can watch the whole thing where he's like screaming, and the mind flayer is trying to get him to break free so he can get to his drugs and get back to his miserable life where he's controlled like a puppet. And then once the mind flayer leaves, I come down and I put a speaker on, and then we play the Bible audiobook. And he has to sit there and listen and get impacted by all the scriptures. Then I'll come out and sit with him and give him food, and we'll have a conversation. I don't think I will. I think I'll send a counselor or something. I'll send a therapist. The therapist will sit down with him on live. And then at the same time, I'm gonna have a GoPro attached to my cat live streaming. And then I'll send my cat out on adventures. So it's a 24-hour live stream, and then in the bottom corner, you can see my cat running around with an infrared to see what he does at night. But that's if I had money. The world's ending. Just hitting the fan. Everything's changing. Everybody's making art and pushing the boundary on art. I hope that God is good enough that everything's going to be fresh, and we're always going to have an opportunity to do something new. All right, keep jerking off. Maybe your dad will be proud of you one day. Smoking. When you fast and you get sunlight and you take probiotics and you sit outside and you're grounded and you're in a positive environment, smoking cigarettes are very grounding. It boosts your testosterone and it helps your brain focus. As long as you're not chain smoking and you're already coming from a place of peace. If you hold on to it like a crutch and you chain smoke, then it's not good. When I'm in public places where I feel attacked all day and I go live, sometimes I chain smoke. When I go live, just to keep me in the habit so I'm focused. But that's just because I'm not at a place yet where I feel safe. But I am now, so I went live. Nobody's bothered me today. But yeah, not all cigarettes are bad, but cigarettes are bad. It's one of those luxuries that you get when everything else is settled. Like, if you're fat as fuck and you don't exercise, definitely don't. It'll make it worse. But I think you feel what I'm talking about. When you got it, it helps you focus. But yeah, I'll put it out for you, man. Maybe I won't, because there's one hit left. And I saw a spider twitch. It's cool when I start going live, all the spiders come out, all the birds come out, the crows try to get at me and then they leave, and then all the rest of nature comes and congregates around me when I do these live streams. I'm never alone when I do these live streams. As soon as I go live, nature surrounds me. You can hear it. When I started the live, this bug wasn't here. Now the bug's here. There were different bugs that came in, different birds came to check in, different squirrels wanted to have their 5 seconds of fame. Because they rarely meet people that have good vibes, that make them feel safe. So all my songs I have hundreds of songs floating around my head, like orbiting me, like a planet. And I just pull one down and make it better, and then I put it back. And then I pull another one down and make it better. And then sometimes I'll pull like 3 or 4 down, mix it together to something really cool, and then I'll put it back up. Sometimes I put it and I share it with the world. And then I notice that the entire world changes to the vibe and the standards that I set in that piece of art that I put out to how many people. Change is good. How many people did I... So one of the big secrets of the universe is that celebrities are not the celebrities. We're the celebrities. And when somebody sells their soul to fame, they lose access to this infinite potential that anything could happen for us. When we wake up in the morning, we have natural abundance, where everything is just at our fingertips. We can go down the road and do anything. We can go anywhere. When you're famous and you choose to be a part of that, when you're in the club, you give yourself away to something else, and then you embody what they call an archetype to the one person that stayed. An archetype is like a character that rests in your mind that embodies a certain set of principles and standards. And then his actions and the way that they influence the other characters and make change, that's all aspects of the human mind and the collective conscious. So Adin Ross gave himself up to embody an archetype, to play a character to influence the public. And he lost the ability to be infinitely abundant, because he had to be this one set of things, and he had to do a certain set of things for the collective consciousness, and also trying to promote an agenda for an evil. You know the people I'm talking about. You know the color of their flag. You know what happens to people that talk about logical stuff like this. They get canceled. Those guys, and the people that made those guys. The people that convinced black people they were black and not indigenous. The projects are a FEMA camp. The projects were a prisoner of war camp for the indigenous people that went to war against them. The reason the prison system was so harsh on them, and the reason that everything that happened in the projects, was because they had convinced the projects that they were people, and that they were equal. And in reality, that was a prisoner of war camp where they were slowly taking away the culture and brainwashing them. Michael Jackson is here, guys. Michael Jackson has joined the chat. Michael Jackson is here, everybody. So yeah, I think it's really cool that Kai Cenat used to eat from my grandfather's restaurant in Bronx, and he goes by KC3, and he has an Irish pendant and he taught the world how to do the jig. And then I left Bronx when I was born, moved to Vermont, which they call West Virginia almost heaven. Vermont's heaven, but the people are horrible. Vermont's the nicest place that I've been to so far. The people are just bad. But it's cool that my name's Casey33, and he goes by Casey3. I go by Casey33, the master number. And I have this chain. And then he is Ray. I was on Casey Road when my good friend Ray McNeil burned alive in his house on McNeil Road, and then the rich elites tried to come in and they bought all of my hometown's farmland. And they're replacing it with GMO foods. And then he goes kayaking with everybody like he's expecting to be a good member of the community when he just bought all of our land. And he's building, it's the most Irish part of the country, and he's building Viking villages. That's his thing. He has a whole cult page where he talks about how good it is to spread chaos. And he's building villages in remembrance to the culture that enslaved the ancestors of the people that are now living there. The birds like it better when I have hope. They come closer when I raise my vibration. I just don't do it because I look like a crazy person, right? When I activate and I raise to the 5th dimension and I'm no longer in my body, the birds love it, but I look like a nut job when I talk like this. You feel me? You can see the nature's getting active. That's how powerful a 33 life path, born on the 11th. My name is the most powerful name in Freemasonry, and my mom named me that because she was just inspired one day. Looking at a name book, she was like, pick Casey. Something told her, pick Casey, and then Casey turns out to be the most powerful name in Freemasonry. It embodies a tree that they feel God made to symbolize all this easily connection to the higher dimensions of creation. When you look at the acacia tree and you chop it down and you look at the insides and you look at the way it's shaped and what it does to function for the Africans, you can uncover the truth about how God likes to structure our narrative personally. It's a big secret in Masonry. Thank you. You should see my father's. You like mine. We're Irish and we're indigenous. My hair. Tarot readers love to tell me. So I'll get a tarot reading from somebody across the world, and they talk about Casey with the 33 life path, Sagittarius. I see you surrounded by green and you have some connection to birds. And they say that your ancestors are so happy you finally figured out how to grow your hair, because now you have a stronger relationship with them than you realize, and you're doing more for the world than you understand. So that's me, man. I'm so proud of the mirror. Like I'm looking at myself in the mirror in front of me and what I've become, and I can remember how I used to look at myself 4 years ago in 2020 when I'd be like floating way beyond my body in a dissociative state, and I would just hate what I saw, and I didn't understand why I couldn't look at myself the way that I looked at myself when I was 13. And now I look at myself and I see a work of art. I'm so proud of who I've become and everything that I've been through. I'm so much. You can go back to my first video and see where I was at. When I was trapped in a Section 8 complex with a brain injury and a lot of trauma, psychological trauma of being trapped around pedophiles, and then like a cycle that I broke. I was trapped in Section 8 with brain injury around a bunch of sex offenders because that was the only place that was available. And it happened to be in the dead center of town, and those guys weren't allowed to leave until nighttime. But I was there. The most powerful empath was stuck with the worst people in the world. So when that intro off the dome for proof was me kind of showing, practicing using my mind when the world seemed to be like trying to drive me insane every day. And now I've killed people in self-defense. I've fought for my life several times. I've survived winters. I've had to hunt for my own food outside. I've had to deal with the public who is stuck in the old traditional white American values, and they are brainwashed, so they see somebody with problems and they think that you're allowed to bully them because they don't work. So I had to do that. I had to walk around. Then I met tons of spiritual leaders. I met tons of I like stormed the beach with my childhood hero and hundreds of people. I've impressed all the people that I wanted to impress, except for the people that I feel like I just haven't done the thing that I need to do. And I'm working on that. But I feel like that thing, different aspects of my character I've taken to the extreme and then showed the people that inspired me to do so a better way with what they taught me. And now I have to piss. So I think we're going to do Viking braids soon. Maybe we're going to do Native American braid. We're going to have something cool. Something cool cooked up. I have the armor now, chat. Look at this. Who shit my pants? So who knows what's next? Shelby, Billy Graham, Sheba, and Michael Jackson. Thank you, Michael Jackson. I'm taking a piss. And then we're gonna do some inspirational quotes or something. I'm gonna say some stuff and then do the outro. And then when I'm ready, I'm gonna take a shit on this white American lawn that they're gonna have to clean up. I think they might have fired that security guard that was bothering me every weekend. She's not here. It's a different person. Oh, I think. And she had the same name as my mom, who was the same way that security guard treated me. My mom treated me my whole life. And then now she's gone. Because I told the guy who's neighbors with the governor of Vermont about what she did and why she did it and the problem in society that their generation has. And he woke up for a couple minutes and then he fell right back into it. Came back, doubled down with that behavior. So, the way that the universe works, the world is stupid, right? We don't use our mind to the most. We don't do the things that we can do. People are scared and they scroll away when I start to talk about the fact that they could be doing more with their life. They understand that they're not living up to their potential. So that's the case when we're in this lulled state where we derp through life. But then for a split second, it comes through and you daydream and you see a way better version of yourself doing amazing things. You see things that you want to do. If you're using so little of your brain and you can imagine that, that's possible. Anything that you can imagine is possible. That's the way that this whole thing works. Even if I'm imagining myself flying. And that's the part that they're worried that I'm going to tell you. That's the thing that can get me in trouble. Is that even if you imagine yourself flying, that's possible. Because if you can imagine it, it's possible. That's the big secret, is that the imagination world and the world around us. You hear my deer getting closer? There's a deer behind me. He's been chilling the whole time. He laid down right behind me. And he's just chilling. Because I'm a human that made him feel safe. So he got curious, and then I kept going and the rest of nature came. So the deer feels safe enough around me that it can rest and it's not going to get shot. During the daytime, the deer have to run. Where am I going to go next? I have to go eat food and I have to hide from the hunters. But the deer came up. We like empathized a little bit. Here's my bug going right to left in front of my face. And the deer felt comfortable enough that he's resting behind me. So that's the thing, is that the big secret, if you guys are real and you're conscious, lose your mind to come to your senses, activate, wake up. Wake up. There's no difference between the outside and the inside. This is the biggest secret that you're gonna hear about the whole world. The biggest secret that they've kept. By putting a phone in front of your face and shoving you full of food that keeps you sedated, and from actually utilizing your brain to activate this biological function that you cure by fasting, sunlight, probiotics, ketosis, autophagy, neurogenesis, multivitamins, omega-3s, patience and hard work, is that the outside world is the inside world. This is an we're the same way you can close your eyes and imagine the space. We're imagining ourselves. The same way that when the sun shines on us, we have a shadow behind us. We're the shadow of our higher selves in a higher dimension. So anything that you want to do is possible. When they say match your vibration, it just means become more like the thing that you're trying to manifest until you are the thing that you manifest. And then live like you're in that daydream. And then the world will shape around you as long as you keep it up, keep focused and commit to it. Eventually the world will, and this is a secret, the world will have to. You see it? Why is it doing that? Why did it just flicker 3 times? And some of the crows caw 3 times. And there's 3 people in the chat. And I'm a 33 life path. So yeah, anything you want to do, you can do. So that's it. Now I'm going to go lay down, listen to some music, and enjoy the rest of my day. It's the 11th. It's the most powerful day in numerology for having a vision for the future. And then the 22nd, when the zodiac changes on the 22nd, it ends on the 21st. On that night to the 22nd, there's a big buildup of all the things that you did in that season, that astrological season. They're gone. And then you have that coup de grace where hopefully you make something or you do something using all the things that you've learned in that style of that season. And then on the 22nd it changes, and that's the most powerful day of the month to start building something. So you do the vision, and then you do the building, and then the 30th of the month is when that is supposed to shine. The embodiment of the childhood energy, spiritual childhood, which is the way of enlightenment. The earth is like an instrument that's constantly projecting consciousness with us, and we're co-creating with it. This secret that I tell you that I could get killed for, and nobody's caught on to it, nobody's mentioned it at all, but I told you that somebody came up and told me about, he named off all of my regular chatters. Somebody walked up to me in Vermont and warned me about going on a hunger strike against the government when I'm teaching people about fasting, sunlight, probiotics. And the FBI had entered the chat the other day. When I told you this is secrets that could get me killed, I wasn't capping for clout, brother. I wasn't trying to rile your emotions up. I was telling you the truth. So that's me, man. If you enjoyed the content, like, comment, subscribe, go down and just like a couple videos to throw me more in the algorithm with the YouTube shorts, just to catch the eye of more people. Then, if your grandma has more money than she knows what to do with, and she's not going to make it to the end of the world, steal that bitch's credit card, and send me enough money to build a content war camp so that we can all get buff, get bitches, throw parties, do streams, and then I will change the world. And then we ride at dawn on motorcycles and e-bikes through one of the coolest places in the country. Probably the best place to ride a dirt bike is through Vermont. The small towns, and then all the different trails that you can go on, the alcoves that lead to waterfalls and all the secret stuff, and then the connection that all the animals have to that portal above Mount Mansfield that fills us full of high vibrational energy that allows us to be different than the rest of the world, and we don't fall under the same programming, which is why the people here are the worst, because they're the most. Here's my bee. They would be brainwashed the heaviest and used as a social experiment by the government the heaviest. And it's very easy for them to do in small towns. Like, it's not, I don't know about you guys, if you guys go outside and sit on your porch and look up at the sky, but we have stars that are just as bright as stars. They're exactly the same light, the same level of light, the same level of shine as the stars when we look up in the sky. But those stars will float above neighborhoods, and then they'll move to the next neighborhood and then stop, and then move to the next town over and stop, and then move to the mountaintop, and then it will descend, and we see this giant ball of light go down to Mount Mansfield, where I'm headed next. So what do you think those are that constantly watch Vermont? It happens in Burlington. I see one here at night. I see one in Brattleboro. Sometimes I see them in Brattleboro, mostly in northern Vermont, around Mount Mansfield. And they're stars. And you think that you look up at the sky and you see it and there's stars. And then all of a sudden the star just moves to the next neighborhood. And you're like, that wasn't a star at all. That's something as high up as the stars that moves. And then around those nights, I'll close my eyes and I'll channel the energy and I'll connect back to Cernunnos, the Irish god of the wild, who's here with us right now. And then I'll push open a boundary. I'll use my imagination and let things come to me and try to open doors with all the esoteric secret knowledge I have. And then all of a sudden it will feel like something unzips and I'm suddenly, like, you know, in the Matrix pod where you're just sleeping in the Matrix pod. It seems like something unzips my consciousness, and then all of a sudden I see a bunch of glowing people with cat faces, like the Khajiits in Skyrim. The cats. And then they tell me stuff, and they're like, I want to reach in, get a tattoo of a cat's paw, and then I can help you in your battle. And then they're like, it's time to go, and then they close up, and then another thing opens up, and it's a bunch of blue people with millions of eyes and little tiny horn spikes around their head. And those things are just they're like amused at me. They're like having a fun. It's like it's funny for them. And then they come in, and then they, like, I used to imagine I had a polar bear that would help fight against the Matrix. I would have like little familiars in my mind that when I felt like people were attacking me, I just imagined myself mauling them to death. And that helped me keep going. So one time they reached down and they grabbed my polar bear and tried to snap its neck, and I had to like put my focus on making sure they're like, no, and my polar bear is stronger, and my polar bear mauls you to death. And then they were like, you're funny. And then closed it. And then another thing opened up from like a darker place, and it was this disgusting black, purple, gross sludge insect. And it tried to get in. I felt it go in my fucking like tube of my throat and like grab at my heart and start to like try to impregnate my consciousness and like rape me spiritually. And then all the birds woke up at like 3 in the morning, and this is on a live stream, Ayahuasca Live at the very end. Or maybe halfway through in Ayahuasca Live. And then all the birds woke up and they started singing around me. And then I felt them shoot their intentions at me and start to eat the bug back up and attack the bug things. And then the last thing I heard was Ender's Game. And then I looked up Ender's Game, and it's a book about a gifted kid that goes into a government program, and he thinks he's just programming an artificial intelligence. But really what he's doing is training all the kids to beat this evil insect intelligence. And it turns out that the insects are actually just calm, peaceful species like humans. And that the humans are the enemy. And that they're just fighting back, and they hate us because of what humanity's doing to them. They're colonizing this alien planet. That we're just peaceful, living by themselves. And then a couple weeks later, I channeled something else. Something else came and burrowed into my mind and spoke to you through the camera. And that's the video called Channeling Asasami. So that happens, man. I don't know what to do next. I'm going to relax. It's a nice day. I like, on 11 days, the music is so much better. On 11 days, it's not a war zone. It's like a playground in my mind when I want to make music. Especially the 10 into the 11, because you have the high king energy of the 10, the leader, and then it transcends into the beautiful, meaningful existence, followed by a 12 day, which goes to a 3, which is the spiritual child energy. So in that 3 days, I love the whole vibe, from the embodiment of the king all the way to the spiritual child. So that's me, man. If you know any rich men north of Richmond, tell them to get their ass down there and give me their money before we take it. This has been Casey Francis O'Brien coming to you live from the spiritual front lines, man. You can do anything you want. Keep going, stay consistent, set your intentions, and give yourself the love that you deserve and you yearn for in others, and then watch how the world changes around you and you start to live in abundance. Thanks for watching.